East of the country, homes have already been evacuated because of the blazes, and the country is in for at least 2 more weeks of this, with some forecasters suggesting the drought will drag into September. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap our top stories, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says the Russian invasion must end with the liberation of Crimea. Meanwhile, a ban on importing coal from Russia is now in force across the European Union. Millions of UK households are falling into debt because they can't afford to pay their energy bills. And India's ruling party, the BJP, has lost control of the crucial eastern state of Bihar. That's the latest feature story news. Chris Jones reporting.
And that's us. Good morning. It's KCHW 102.7, looking at 7:22 as we get things fired up on a Wednesday for you. In the studios of KCHW Live, running the controls, running the spaceship, it's Michelle Williams. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, so spaceship KCHW.
Yeah. And live from his home up by the Cheweel Golf and Country Club, it's Mr. Mike Bentz. Good morning, Mike Bentz.
Good morning, everybody. How are you guys today?
All right, and just a little reminder, that Zoom thing cuts off Michelle, so don't step on her. You stepped on her, we couldn't hear what she said, Mike. So give her don't make sounds when Michelle's talking. Not only does it cut her off, she will slap you with a ruler.
Oh.
Say that again?
I said, oh.
All right, getting fired up this morning with a little weather for you. 91 in Cheweel, overcast skies, so it's going to be muggy. Stray shower, thunderstorm is possible. That'll keep it sweaty. And 64 for an overnight low under partly cloudy skies. A stray shower or thunderstorm possible tonight as well. Weather continues in the 90s for you this week. Thursday, 93 and 61. Friday, 95 and 58. Both days partly cloudy. Saturday, sunny and 89. Sunday, sunny and 88. Monday right now, if you return to work from the weekend, 94 with sunshine. And then you're back into the hundreds. I am so sorry to report that.
I was going to say you're fired.
Oh, man. And just to rub it in, today's high in Lincoln, Maine, 72.
It wouldn't be August out here without at least one 100-degree day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but there's no fires. Cross our fingers. There's very little smoke.
Yeah.
You know, so I can deal with 100. I mean, last night I went outside about, 10:30, and it was still 70, 5 degrees or something like that. And it reminded me of Texas.
Oh, I could see that.
We have transformed into fall here. I've got 72 today under cloudy skies. And then, let's see, I look ahead in the 2-week forecast. We never get warmer than 81. So if you're too hot, just remember, Scott's cool.
Yeah, but wait until about January and one of those big nor'easters come in, and the wind's blowing 100 miles an hour, and the sun is straight line, or the snow is straight line. You know, you're drifted in. You can't even go outside.
Well, if luck holds out, I will have a girlfriend in Florida by then.
So you have a goal.
I have a goal.
I'm going to have a girlfriend, and I'm going to be in Florida by the time it snows.
Our second choice is somebody that lives in Florida that's listening to this broadcast that will let me come rent a room. That's another option. I kind of prefer the girlfriend thing, but it doesn't have to work out. I'm just saying.
I can see it now. She's got one of those fan boats, you know, with the big propeller on the back, and she's sitting there with her picture of her knees down to her feet. With her swamp kitty, a big old alligator on the boats.
Right. There was a story today on Yahoo. A guy got attacked, or maybe it's in our prep sheet. A guy got attacked by an alligator, but they said since like 1948, there's only been like 46 alligator deaths in Florida. So those are pretty good odds.
Yeah, but somebody as tasty as you hasn't shown up yet.
That's true. I appreciate that, I think.
You think?
Maybe not. I know we got a lot of events coming up this way, and we're going to turn it over to Mike here in a few minutes. We're not so lucky. California fires going crazy. The deadly fire continued to burn from last week at the Klamath National Forest in Northern California. This one's really sad. Local fishermen was counting dead fish in the river that has turned to a consistency of chocolate milk. It's because they had this fire break out, and then they got a downpour that caused a bunch of erosion and stuff into the creeks. And they actually say there's zero oxygen in the river, and it's killing fish. That's so sad.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the biggest issues with Forest Service, or the forest fires. People they see the fire and they see all the destructions, but I think a lot of people don't get it, that once it's out, it's not done.
Right.
And probably one of the hardest things I think the Forest Service or private landowners have to deal with is how do you stop that erosion?
Mm-hmm.
And it, and then of course if it's got to be logged, then there's like a 45-year environmental review.
Mm-hmm.
Although we had Josh White from the Forest Service at the chamber meeting last Friday morning. And he was talking about the A to Z project outside of Chihuahua, which, maybe we'll see if we can get him or one of the foresters on the radio here in September. But, that's one of the primary reasons they want to do that is go and make the forest healthier, by thinning it out, selective thinning and logging, and make it more recreationally friendly. And I mean, I don't want to go down that bunny trail because I probably spend the next 20 minutes on that. But a lot of that has to do with some of the forest fires in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not being able to, follow up appropriately with it. But
that's one of the theories out there is a proper forest management would help with those forest fires. But I kind of think we're just too dry anymore. Even if you thinned it out, you've got 10,000 years of pine needles on the ground. I mean, how are you going to get all that up and out of there to keep it from burning? It seems like surely a daunting task, if not an impossible one. Not to be a naysayer, but it doesn't look good out there.
Yeah, well, but you got to get started somewhere, but at least when you get it cleared out like that, and they do the thinning, you hopefully will keep the fires from crowning. Mm-hmm. Because once they crown in those trees, that's when it really gets destructive because you just can't stop it.
Right.
Yeah. At least make it easier for them to battle it, right?
Right. Exactly.
Well, I hope it holds out in our area. Everybody be careful and don't start something burning, be dumb, find some old fireworks and decide to light it off. Who knows? All right, a couple other news headlines this morning. Kind of a warning. Ford is getting sued after another airbag incident. They've had quite a few of these where the airbag exploded instead of deploying and put shrapnel into his body. His family is suing. Ford's had a recall on these before, and they're talking about pulling them all in. It's called the Takata airbag, just in case you have a Ford. Maybe look through your manual and find out if you've got the Takata airbag, because they say if it's if it's a few years old, they're finding that they're not reliable anymore, and they will tend to explode instead of deploy. So big problem for Ford there in the news, and just something to share in case you have one.
You said that because I have two of them, right?
Yes. So be safe. Check out those airbags because they are a problem. And then on a side note, I called the FBI yesterday. I said I had 15 boxes of old records and I'd really like them out of my house. Is that not funny?
Well, it is if you know what the backstory is.
My highlight from all the news, it's pretty much overshadowed everything about Trump's house being raided and them taking out documents and stuff. Eric Trump yesterday, this is my highlight, my takeaway from all of that. His son may have revealed just a little too much about how the White House operated under his father, Donald. One day after the FBI executed a search warrant on Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home, the son of the former president claimed that President Joe Biden must have approved the action. His words, Well, that's how it worked when my dad was in office. and they forget how many times did he at least try to get somebody investigated just because he was president.
Yeah. That I think was a daily occurrence.
So the irony there is distasteful to Scott. All right, leave that one alone. Other than that, I think those are all like kind of the news headlines that popped up there. There was always it's pretty much the same stuff over and over. So we can move along, and I know I've got several events coming up in the area that I've got some extra information on. One of those, just in case you don't, Mike, one of those is the Valley Fair this weekend. I've got their schedule of events. Which is very cool. And then there's a kids festival in the park this weekend, and I've got a schedule of events for that too. So let's roll into our nonprofit stuff and turn it over to Mike. I know it's Mike's Wednesday. He gets to talk a lot. So today I am enjoying third coffee.
So if your screen goes blank and you mute, we know what you're doing. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I get third coffee today because Mike's going to take over. Where are you starting today, Mike?
Oh, let's start with the chamber. We'll just start off at the top.
Okay.
So actually, I just want to remind people that the gala and auction is coming up on the 8th of October. That's the annual fundraiser that the chamber has not been able to do for a couple of years because of COVID. So we're really looking forward to try to get that back in play. It'll start, silent auction will be at 4:30, dinner's at 6:30, and I'll have more information on that towards the end of the month as far as the dinner. And then live auction to follow. And Stephanie Westhoff's going to be here on the 24th of August because she's in charge of the auction committee. And she's always, a good person to have on the radio, and she's very passionate about that. And she'll have way more information than I have. So get that on your calendar. Just want to continue to remind people that the Forest Service is in the chamber office every Tuesday from 10 to 3. And Eric is the forest ranger that's there. And you can pretty much get anything in Chewelah you can get in Kettle Falls or Colville. Maps, permits, passes that don't involve paying for the pass. And something I found out last Friday morning is the Colville National Forest, you don't have to buy a wood permit for firewood, but you still need the permit. And a lot of that, if you can't make it down there on a Tuesday, the chamber office is open Tuesday through Friday from basically 9 to 2. And Piani has that stuff on hand, so you can just stop by and pick it up. He was asked how well that's going, and it's a little bit on the slow side. And I think a lot of that is just promotion, trying to get people to understand they don't have to drive all this distance to get the majority of what they want. And I think a lot of it there is the first time, anytime you do something the first time, you try to figure out what could you do better, what could you run, how can I run faster and jump higher?
Sure.
And so, and then the chamber bucks are always in play. And so we encourage people to utilize those for all kinds of different things. Employee bonuses to birthday parties to celebrations in one form or another. You can get those at the same hours. And since we build them, we make them, you can get them pretty much in any denomination you want. So, and then city sidewalks, you're going to start hearing about that. I think that's always, in fact, I know it's always the first Saturday in December, which I believe is December 2nd this year. And that's probably other than the actual chamber auction itself, the next big thing that the city does, or that's the city, but the chamber does, other than we've got the fall festival come up and 1st of October, and Greg's on later, so we can delve into that when he's on.
Yeah, the good news, we've got Mayor Greg McCunn coming up at about 8:05.
Right, exactly. And one of the things that I feel pretty good about actually is some of these larger events are now starting to be collaborative between the chamber, the creative district, and the city specifically. And that three-pronged approach seems to get more and better. How's that for great grammar? support and ideas and, things like that. So that's really, in my mind, really, really healthy. So, and you just already mentioned the Chihuahua Kids Festival is coming up in the park on the 13th, this Saturday from 1:30 till 7 o'clock. And I there's a whole listing of events. It'll be, I'm sure, in the Independent again this Thursday. It was in the Independent last Thursday. And it goes right up to, what's warm to your heart. It's really structured for kids. It's, there's, to me, I'm not a kid, but there's things in here that look kind of fun. They're a 34-foot slide, spike ball, 12-foot inflatable Nerf football. They got a lot of stuff that to keep kids out of trouble and busy and everything else. And I also want to give a shout out to the bowling alley. Scott, there's some new owners are taking over that bowling alley, and they historically are not open during the summer, and they've been open. And there was an interview with, and I can't remember their name, the people that own it. They own the one in Colville. They said they've been pleasantly surprised how busy they are.
I wonder if the scare of losing it has incentivized people to show up and take advantage of it, maybe that we're kind of taking it for granted?
Yeah, I actually believe that. It's like most things. People start taking things for granted until they no longer have it, and then it's kind of, well, we want it back. Kind of a Chautauqua syndrome, that type of thing. Sure. So, but anyway, that wasn't even on my list, but I was just thinking about that because I drove by there sometime in over the last weekend, and it was actually, cars were lined up in front of it on that side of the street and on the other side of the street for the park too.
All right, I've got one question back to the kids, the Chihuahua Kids Festival that's going on 1:30 to 7. I don't know if you got that in there. And then it is put on by the Addie New Life, and they're going to have a worship and praise concert, I guess, between 5:30 and 7. And I wanted to throw this out because I was curious if you were part of it, because it sounds like something you would be involved in. The Old Duffers Wisdom Booth. Is that you?
No.
Oh, okay. Sure, it would be.
Because at a certain age, you got to remember. I always thought that. The farmers market did that. A couple of years ago, they had an Old Duffers Wisdom booth at the farmers market, and I never did it, but I thought it'd be kind of fun. Because the older you get, the more you're, generally speaking, not afraid to express your opinion. So
I read a thing this morning, and it was all about advice for teenagers. And I read through it, and I went, "Oh my God, there's no teenager that's going to listen to this."
Exactly.
I've had two. They're not. You can tell them everything you want, and you can tell them how to do it and how to be safe and all that, but they're still going to try it their own way. They're kids.
Yeah. Well, I think most people are built this way. But like, if I told you to do something, you would fight against it. The next time I tell you to do it, it becomes a collaborative decision, and you think it might be a good idea. And the third time, it's your decision, and you're a hero, and I'm the loser. So.
All right. So maybe the Old Duffers Wisdom Booth will eventually work out.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, and Chihuahua's full of Old Duffers with wisdom.
Oh, my gosh. That's like if you open that up and said any Old Duffers with wisdom show up here, you'd be inundated.
Pick a number. So, anyway. But yeah, it should be a good time in the park this weekend. The city park, and I was talking to somebody the other day, it's really utilized way more than a lot of people think. Oh, I was talking to Auntie Trudeau the other day, from the Nordlig.
Yes.
And she was saying, we were talking about it, and she's saying that, because they're right across from the park, so they see the activity there all the time. And she says, it's really busy. And one of the things that has come out of the discussions over the last 2-3 months about creating more activities in Chihuahua is the park is really doing a great job of that. What we need to do is focus more on downtown, because people don't necessarily gravitate from the park to Main Street, that type of thing. So, and that's happening, and we'll let Greg talk about that.
We got two big events on Saturday too, since we were talking about it. Also going on at the same time as the Valley Fair. Now that starts Friday. from 8 to noon. They've got registration at the exhibit halls. They've got a new exhibit hall at 3089 2nd Street. Let's see, entries must be in Friday by noon if you're doing that. And then they've got their typical things they do every year, like the horse judging, Little White Schoolhouse is open. They've got a tie-dye clinic this year. Music and food in the park and other activities start at 6 o'clock Friday night. Let's see, 7:30, line up for the fun run. After the fun run begins at 8, and then they have the kiddie run that follows that. Also at 8 on Saturday, animal judging begins. Arts and crafts at the Valley Square Station are going on that morning as well. And then they have music all day long on Center Stage on Saturday from 9 until they close. Typical cakewalk. They do that every year. I've got to watch that before. That's awful fun. Pie judging. 3 o'clock, dog agility demonstration show at the Valley Station Square.
Neat.
You been taking your pooch down there?
Well, no, because one of them doesn't behave and the other one can hardly move.
I was trying to picture you keeping up with the dog during the agility show. No?
Yeah, especially with my bum leg, right?
Yes. All right. So their little tease for that. Don't forget, get out to Valley and support them Friday and Saturday as well. Back to you, Mike.
Okay, all righty. Well, let's move on to the Creative District. First Thursday was last Thursday, and which was another phenomenal success. The downtown on Thursday, from about 4 o'clock on, I don't know how to describe it, packed maybe. That's really taken a life on its own. And of course, Tim Nielsen, who's one of our favorite guests, he brought that idea to the table several years ago, and it's basically just grown. And on our spotlight gallery this last week, we had a lady, she goes by Red. She had ceramic display, but it was artistic ceramics and pottery, and really well received. And in fact, we've already gotten a couple inquiries, people wanting to know where they can take classes. And we're working on that. I've been talking about the Renew Washington grant, and we found out the high school has a kiln. And so we're trying to figure out how we can have somebody come in and do a 1-week class and and get it dried sufficiently enough that they can put it in a kiln. And I didn't know that. Do you know the high school had a kiln?
I had no idea.
And then we did and Kim Thomas and Lynn and John Cassidy run that for the Creative District, and they did something a little different this time in the back room of the Huff Memorial Center. That's a big dance area, presentation area where people can do small concerts and things like that. They had the Stevens Valley Stompers come in, the Cloggers, and I kind of, when you hear that, you kind of chuckle a little bit because, my impression of Cloggers is the old wooden shoe days. Mm-hmm. And this isn't it. These people are phenomenal.
It's more like Riverdance.
Yeah, it's like Riverdance, exactly. And so they did 10-minute on, 10-minute off presentations, and then on the 10 minutes they were off, there was, and I'm not even going to try their last names. There was Cindy, who's a piano player, and she's also a teacher there, and Mo, who's on a fiddle. They would do things while the Stevens Valley Tompers were resting or whatever. And you wouldn't believe the comments we got from people that said, this is a great addition to the downtown. The fine art is beautiful. And that's a driving force, of course, but to have something, a little bit different. And when I was at the chamber Friday morning, I really made a point that said the Creative District is all about the arts, and the arts aren't just the fine arts. They're music and they're acting, and you can go on and on from that standpoint. And I believe that's starting to have a pretty good impact. Did I step on top of something?
No, I agreed with you. I said, all right.
Okay. I've been talking about the September 10th Art on Main, and we've decided as a Creative District we're not going to do that because there's just not a tough time to get it together and do it well. So that'll be pushed to the spring. We're going to do that in the spring. And then Greg is going to talk about the October or first fall festival, and so we're going to put our efforts towards that. So very similar format. The city sidewalks, like I said, is on December 2nd, and it's already been confirmed that Farmers Market's going to take the street next to the senior center there, in between it and the Huff Memorial Center, like they did last year. They're going to have a big tent and vendors in there.
Come on, Mike, do not talk about December. That is way too far off to tease.
No. You got to start planning. I mean, if you're busy and you want to get events on the calendar,
okay, don't compete with December 2nd. There you go.
Right. And the Creative District is going to take over the Huff Memorial Center that time. And I don't know if Michelle was around, but Scott, remember 3-4 years ago when they did the Christmas fair and Melanie had that full of vendors and things like that?
Yes.
It'll be basically the same thing. So it'll all be inside, and that's in the process of being laid out and planned as we speak. And then of course, the chamber. So you're going to have a 3-pronged approach, and I think I'm really looking forward to that. We were talking.
Speaking of the farmers market, real quick, give them a tease because this Friday in the park it is the Zucchini Regatta. Get your giant zucchini. Start carving now.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a fun time. It really is a fun time.
It's one of my favorites.
And then at the end, you can collect all the zucchinis and we'll put them in an overnight pack and we'll send them to Scott so it makes him feel guilty about leaving.
Oh. Can you imagine what that smelled like by the time it made it to Maine?
Oh, well,
Not be good. Not good.
Okay. All right. And then we were talking before we got on the air that last night there was the Washington State Arts Council their board met in Spokane, and they had a little thing called Sip and Chat for an hour after their meeting, and I asked if we could come down and so some people could meet some people in the Arts Commission. They said absolutely, so we had 6 people show up last night, and what was really, really, in my mind, heartening, and it kind of makes you kind of proud, is when they found out Chihuahua was going to be there, people sought us out because we're really making a large impact statewide because it's a rural community and we're getting things done. And actually, the lady that's the director of the Washington State Arts came up and talked to me, and she had seen our annual report that we have to do every year because Annette Roth, who is the creator of not creator, but she runs the Creative District statewide, had read through it and sent it to her, and she said it was just unreal what this little Chihuahua is getting done with no paid help, lots of volunteers over the last year. I mean, and someday maybe I'll dig out that annual report and we can talk about it on the radio to give people locally an idea of what all's gotten accomplished from a Creative District perspective. So. And then Farmers Market, you already stole my thunder there. We got a couple of big public events coming up. One of them's this Thursday night. It's Downtown Strategies, and we're going to let Mary McCunn talk about that and what that's all about. And then the Firefighting Olympics on the Fall Festival. And to maybe pull it all together towards the end, looking at the golf course, this is a test for the two of you. You know the sport pickleball?
Yes.
Okay. Where was that invented and recognized?
Where was it invented and recognized? I'm going to guess it wasn't Chihuahua, but maybe like Spokane? Actually,
it was Washington. It was in Bainbridge Island.
Okay.
And it became they started playing it there, and it became a recognized sport, and it's huge. I mean, when I first introduced to it 3-4 years ago, I'm thinking of pickleball. What is that? You hit a ball, use your ball of pickle? I mean, that type of thing. And so the people at the golf course, there were a group that got together and convinced the golf course to take one of the tennis courts and convert it to a pickleball court. And when you do that, there's actually 4 pickleball courts where there used to be 1 tennis court because the game is played a lot differently and a lot smaller. And it's very popular. And in fact, it's so popular that they continue it down at the gym at the middle school in the off season because they've got quite a following. And what I want to point out at the golf course, the whole reason for this is it's free. There's no sign up. They just show up and people can play. It's not too far from the clubhouse. So basically get done playing and you're all tired out. You can buzz over to the Rusty Putter and grab a cold one, whatever that happens to be, and maybe a bite to eat. And the public is more than welcome. I mean, and sometimes people think because of that country club moniker that's there, it's a private, and it's not
welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not welcome. And it's not that at all. And in fact, one of the initiatives a while back was to just get it changed to Chewelah Golf Course. And unfortunately, there's all kinds of charter stuff and, registrations and everything else. And it becomes not as easy as that, just changing the name. So we're really trying to emphasize that it's open to the public. And the way I tell people to think about it is a lot of, like Spokane's a great example. They've got a lot of public facilities that are funded through your tax dollars. In fact, they got 4 golf courses. And the public has used to that, and you pay for it. You pay through your tax base, predominantly. Chewelah has one too. If you think about it, it's open to the public, and other than your green fees, which are also in Spokane as far as that goes, all the costs are being taken care of behind the scenes, either by the members of the golf course or the public through their fee structure. So Little Cheweah's got the only 27-hole golf course in its backyard, and in Eastern Washington, and it's considered one of the top courses. In fact, Jason got interviewed last Friday afternoon by Golf Now, which is a Northwest golf magazine, and we're going to be featured in that, which is a little ironic because it's at the end of the season, but at least we'll be featured in it as far as that goes.
So I got a question for you, Mike. Since you've been involved with them for a long time, just out of curiosity, since I know you're not a 501c charitable organization, but you are a nonprofit at the golf course, is that something that is typical for golf courses, or something again that is unique to Chewelah that we have basically a nonprofit association for the golf course?
Right. My and this is an educated guess. I would say it's fairly typical for especially public type courses, and we're a 501c6, so it's a not-for-profit, which is different than a nonprofit. And all that means is any of the money that's made has to be reinvested back into the course. And so the members up here, for instance, we don't get like a dividend check once a year, that type of thing. And so
everything goes back into paying the staff, and keeping it alive, right?
Exactly. Paying the staff, maintenance, expansion, and in the last couple of years especially, we've been putting a fair amount of money back into upgrades and adding more features. It'll do things like junior golf. There's no cost for junior golf under the age of 17 as long as they're with an adult. I mean, so kids can come up and play for free. If you don't have golf clubs, the golf clubs are provided for juniors. And it's the 9-hole side. The 18-hole side, we can't do that because the pace of play would kill it on that side. But all that's because you have any money that's made is going back into the coffers per se. And I don't think that's necessarily unique. I think what's unique is it's semi-private, whereas a private course would probably have still the 501c6, but the public wouldn't be able to play it. So it's really unique. And I was talking, and actually Shelley Stevens is going to be on next week to talk about the rural tourism initiatives. And Chewelah is so unique that you've got what I consider a top-notch, almost world-class ski area about 8 miles from town. You've got a golf course that's one of the top courses in Eastern Washington and probably in the entire state that's reasonably priced. I mean, their courses are probably manicured better, but they're 3 times the green fees. 5 miles from town. And then you've got the new casino being built out there with the Hotel First, which is 5 miles from town. And then you've got access to the Colville National Forest. We're actually the southern gateway to the Colville National Forest. You've got access two different directions, one up Sand Canyon, the other one up Flowery Trail, to $1.4 million or 1.4 million acres of recreation. And so think about towns you've lived in, and I can't think of one that is even close to having the same thing. I mean, and that's where you want to get the word out, because tourism is and will continue to be a big component of Chewelah. But more importantly, it's an ideal location for the small entrepreneurial type business, because it's business friendly. And I know some people don't particularly believe that, but it is. Believe me, if you've lived in a larger community and ran a business, it's extremely business friendly, you know. And frankly, those tourism dollars are something that's going to keep the consistency of the economic base going forward. You know, and before we got in the air, I'd mentioned that yesterday Sharon Ludwig rode in with me to the meeting in Spokane, and we were coming back. We were just talking about stuff, and she made a comment that is so relevant in today's world, that we're better off having, you know, a fair number of smaller quality events than one big event, because exactly what happened will happen. At some point in time, those bigger events will falter, and you've got so much invested in those bigger events that you actually have to start all over. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot easier to put on a smaller event than it is a big event.
Well, I think too, having a small town that is focused on tourism and recreation rather than industry makes it a better place to live, because would you really want a bunch of factories and smokestacks and pollution and that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Or a natural environment to live in and grow your kids in. So
yeah, and I know there's a faction of the community that says, why don't we go out and get a manufacturing facility, or why don't we go out and get an extraction facility, or go out. Well, you know, it's not that we don't want to do that. It's just, is it the best thing going forward given the history? Mm-hmm. I mean, think of in your time, I mean, the number of larger entities that came in and have left, and what the economic downturn happens to that.
I was talking one time with somebody from WorkSource out of Spokane. This was quite a few years ago, but she was saying over the next decade, and maybe two, that our area in Chewelah, and I don't know if this will ever come true, but her thing was that we would see a big increase in mining again, as places around the country that were previously mining run out of ores and stuff where they're mining. And that when they abandoned Chewelah in the 40s and 50s, or rather Stevens County, because a lot of people might not know Stevens County had over 1,000 mines back in the 40s. They say mining at one point, because of a loss of resources, will come back because the technology has changed so much that there's tons of ores and deposits still in our mountains that are untapped because of the old technology. And they say mining is going to come back to our area. I kind of hate to see that if it ever happens, but definitely a possibility in the future.
Oh, it's a possibility, but it'd be on a smaller scale, and then the environmental impacts are so much different than they were. I mean, I grew up in Montana, which is a huge mining state also, and you know, they're still living the horror of the extraction that was done there for years and years with no regulatory type stuff. And so it may or may not happen, but it'll be in a different framework. And I personally think it'll be smaller entities, so they're more nimble.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think Chewelah is positioned for controlled growth, and that's one of the common messages that came through the Carpe Agreement, that's coming through the A to Z project, that we get through the Creative District, we get through the Chamber, we get through the TED for the Tourism Council, is you don't want to be overgrown, I guess, for lack of a better term, and gentrified. You want to be able to control the growth as it comes in, and make sure the puzzles pieces that you're adding complement each other, don't contradict each other. And I think the downtown strategies thing that Greg's going to talk about, definitely that focuses on that. And I believe the Creative District and the Chamber and the TED have gotten that message loud and clear. You know, but there's still a faction of the community out there that don't believe that. And the other thing, and I'll finish up here because I'm sure Greg's on the line waiting, basically one of the cool things that's happening, and you remember Justin Schramm from Ami Gaming?
Yes.
We've contracted him, and he's starting to put together a proposal to do maps of Chihuahua that are 3D.
Cool.
And it came to our attention through Piani, the chamber administrator, that we don't have any actual maps of Chihuahua. Do you know that?
No.
You know, and you know, if you live here, it's no big deal, because they say, you know, where's the radio station? Well, you go down here and turn left to here, and it's right across, and you know, stuff like that. But somebody who doesn't live here, they don't have any concept of what that is.
Right.
That's a good one.
And so I thought it was great. So the creative district's going to run the lead on that to begin with, and then I think on the chamber, on the marketing side, you know, we're going to somehow figure out how to share in that. And there'll be two maps. One of them will be more of a display map. It'll be more topographical driven, and actually, if we can figure out how to fund it, it'll be 3D with where he actually cuts the buildings and stuff, and they're glued on a base and stuff like that. And then the other one will also be 3D, but it'll be like a PDF file. And so the way we were talking about it the other day is it'll be set up where, like, building number 3 might be KCHW, so it'll have a 3 on it, and then there'll be a ledger that says 3 is KCHW,
Like a
so
key.
people will be able to find it.
All right.
I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to take a little bit of time, but once it's done, it'll be something that can be used on a repetitive basis and updated consistently, which is nice.
The one thing I always found amazing about Chihuahua, so my family moved there in '78. I was 10 years old when they bought a business in Chihuahua, and the town at that time pretty much looked like a wreck. You know, there was a big mess coming into town. The elevator, that whole area was just kind of messy, and it has gone over since I moved back at what was it? Probably 45 years old. So you know, in the 13, 14 years that I'd been there after I moved back, I watched the town go through such a transformation and really turn into a beautiful place. A town that matches the picturesque view that you get when you drive into it, where it used to not be that way. You know, it you know, not to beg on Clayton, but it kind of looked like Clayton when you drove into it. Not much better, really. And now with the work of a lot of business owners and property owners, they've beautified our town. I mean, I know there's a couple places that are still holdout eyesores, but for the most part, you know, 95% of the town or more has turned beautiful. And that's an amazing thing, and a great thing for the changes for the town becoming, due to some of your work and your friends, an arts district, the changes that lie ahead for Chihuahua, and the opportunities for tourism and stuff. It's the town, I guess, to wrap this all up, it has come a long way from when I was a little kid living there.
Yeah, see, and people like me have been here relatively short periods of time. It's changed, but not as dramatically as you're talking about.
Yeah, and it is. If you could go back to 1978 when I was a kid, it is a dramatic change, all for the positive. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, and coming into town last night, Sharon put an idea in my brain that I'm going to figure out how to get done. But you know, as we come in, you have the marijuana farm on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Where all the containers are that say K-line on the side. I'm thinking, how would that be cool if you had a series of murals instead of the K-line and the containers, you know, and then
it's a pot farm though. What kind of murals would they be, Mike?
Well, you know, probably be you sitting back in a big easy chair and saying, "Oh man,
welcome to Chihuahua.
Welcome to Chihuahua."
Is that Freedom Rock, man? Turn it up.
And then I guess Brandon's got a smoke machine, or somebody's got a smoke machine. You have a smoke machine.
No.
You know, have little puffs of smoke coming up.
Okay, we're overdoing it now.
I have a smoke machine.
Okay.
I have a smoke machine.
Oh. Ooh. Okay, we gotta slow down and talk about that because we'll get in trouble. You know that, right?
Yeah. Careful. Easy does it. And plus the mayor's listening.
Okay, that's true.
All right, here we go.
Hey, man, is that Freedom Rock? Yeah, man. Well, turn it up, man.
All right. So we will be back in just a few minutes. We're going to find out about talking about everything community. We're going to find out about some new downtown strategies with Mayor Greg McCunn. You stay right here. It's Northern Lights Public Radio. We are KCHW 102.7.
We are still going out over Facebook.
Okay, we are muted, but we are going out over Facebook. Hi, Facebook. News is playing on the radio. We'll be back in a minute.
We're going to get this all situated.
There's the boss.
Yep.
He's on mute, so that'll work for a minute. Trying
Yeah.
to get this window all bigger so you guys aren't teeny tiny.
Well, I could do for being smaller.
You're going for teeny tiny?
That's right, not teeny tiny.
I'm gonna make
Yeah.
myself
Well,
a
I'm
little
going to
bit
see my doctor
smaller.
on my knee, and one of the things they want me to do is lose weight. So basically, take a picture of me smaller, will you? And I'll take it in.
Take a little screenshot. Oh,
Great job.
web capture here going on.
Michelle, I'm gonna switch and play the the political news,
Okay.
the 2022 talks, just so you know. So we'll be at 3 minutes instead of 6 because I know the mayor's a busy guy.
Okay. I'm gonna have to take
Can I
a
ask a
break
question?
momentarily.
Okay,
Real quick, like. my
Okay.
goodness.
you've got 3 minutes.
Okay.
Is it
Don't laugh at me while I'm gone, Scott.
I will. We'll make fun of you totally while you're gone. Go ahead, Greg.
two topics we're going to cover from the fall festival and then the downtown strategies Thursday night. Is the one that goes first versus second, which one's more memorable? Because obviously Thursday night is upon us tomorrow, and just want people to remember that. I had teed up the questions in the order of downtown strategies, then festival. I don't know if there's.
I think that's perfect. I think you should do the one that's soonest first.
Okay.
Yeah, because the downtown festival will be continually promoted now until it happens.
Yeah.
You know,
and
so
I'll put that kind of stuff on the daily community calendar too. So
right.
Super. Okay. Good to see you guys.
good to see you too. Seems like you were just here.
It does. I like that. I like that. This is
You're gonna
fun.
start showing up every Wednesday, aren't you?
Right.
Well, he's my replacement.
Oh.
See, so at some point we'll have like a mayor's corner on Wednesday morning.
That would be okay.
Yeah, but then he couldn't say anything if during the election, right?
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, well, that won't work. I'll have to think of something else.
Yeah, that saved me that one time I went on vacation, and I guess one of the groups was talking about putting me in for mayor while I wasn't there. I was going on vacation to run. It was before, I think it was the last one. They were gonna write me in as a candidate for mayor, and I was like, I'm so glad you guys didn't do that to me. I wouldn't have been able to do it. I'd had to leave the radio.
Yeah.
And I can do far more damage with this than I could as mayor.
He told me during the campaign that if I went first, he'd go second. So I'm doing my turn. His is next.
No, I don't think so. There's an age limit.
Mike, it's a part-time job.
Yeah. See, I knew that before you took it.
Okay, I'm the sucker.
Yeah, you're down to what, 32 cents an hour now?
All right, we got 30 seconds left, gentlemen. She's going to pipe us back down through the radio, so everybody quiet on the set.
While additional vaccine effectiveness studies are underway, we at CDC are very much recommending that people who get vaccinated continue to take steps to protect themselves from infection, especially if they have only had a single dose.
There are nearly 9,000 cases of monkeypox nationwide. I'm Mary Sherman for Pacifica Network and Public News Service. Find our trust indicators to support transparency and accuracy at publicnewsservice.org.
KCHW Chihuahua, we're 102.7 FM on your dial, looking at 8:11 and being joined for part two by our Mayor, Greg McCunnon. I was just saying, Greg, welcome back. It seems like you were just here a few days ago.
It does, and I'm glad it does. It's fun to be on. It's great to meet with you guys.
All right. We're going to have to, if you're going to keep doing this, we're going to have to get you a real microphone for your computer because that one is just not very good. So be sure that you speak up good and loud for us today.
You got it.
All right. All right. How's things going at City Hall?
City Hall, well, we were joking before we came on air about how I signed up for this part-time job. So, it's just a couple hours a week as mayor. And no, we got a lot going on. In fact, I was reflecting this morning of, historically how long it's taken us to get plans done or identify changes to be made and then take the necessary steps to put those in motion. And I'm just so excited. The city council, the administration here in City Hall, everybody's, and the community, everybody's just really on a similar page with regard to this point in time for our town. So we are plenty busy, but we're also having a lot of fun because so many good things are happening.
Well, enjoy your time as mayor here too, because like I was saying, I'm sure you heard it before. You could hear us before we went to break. This is a pinnacle for Chihuahua. The town has never looked so good, and I don't think the town has ever been in such a good position.
I couldn't agree more. I was talking to Sharon Ludwig just last week, and she too had similar reflections. And when and others like her who have been here for 40 plus years. Are starting to recognize this is a right time and place for us. I think it's a very special time. I had the honor of speaking to the Chihuahua Golf Course Board and about 75 of their members. And what I shared with them and I share with the community, and I'll repeat it Thursday night at the Downtown Strategies event, I really have come to believe that these next 5 years, and I'm beginning a 5-year clock at January 2022, will determine the next 20 years for Chihuahua. And that is a very good thing. It's a huge responsibility, but I think it really has to do with, for those of us who are active and engaged, creating the legacy of the next 20 years. So it's an exciting time for sure.
All right. And so you've got a big event coming up Thursday night. Tell us about where it's happening and what it is.
Certainly. So we're going to be meeting 6 p.m. at the Civic Center. And for those who were involved in the vision planning with Downtown Strategies, let me back up. Downtown Strategies is a third-party consultant that works only with rural towns across America and works with them on revitalization. So they had come on site a few months ago. We were at the Civic Center. They had done the walkthrough, done a lot of data analytics around Chihuahua, and then from that built what was a 5-year plan. Thursday night is the rollout of that plan, but more importantly, or as importantly, is the activation and the kickoff of execution of that plan. We have a lot of plans. Some plans, like for instance, Dorothy and the team did such a great job executing plans that really helped us have that long-term game for infrastructure, helped us achieve things like the fuel tanks up at the airport and all these things that are super important to the city. But not a lot of people may intersect with that reality. These plans, people are going to feel, people are going to notice, people are going to be part of. And so Thursday night, we're bringing as many people as we can cram in the Civic Center together. We'll have drinks and cookies and roll out not only the plan, leave room for answering questions, but we're going to really challenge our community. We all have an idea of our future. I think we all agree that while change may not be easy, we agree change is upon us. And it's time to get involved. It's time to, and there's going to be specific opportunities. There's 4 different buckets we're going to work from tourism and promotion to design to economic vitality, and then administration and policy. And from those 4 buckets, we're recruiting leaders to lead teams and committees that can go down the list of items under each of those buckets that are very specific, no cost 1-year goals, some cost, and longer range 2 to 3 year goals, and then a little bit higher cost, high gain items that could take us 5 years to achieve. But as I've spoken about with enforcement, we tend to think all or none. We think, well, are we going to be able to get all this done? I promise you, if we hit 30% of the recommendations that came out in this 5-year plan, we will have set our flag in the ground for our future. So as change comes, as more people come to our beautiful community, as we grow, we'll be defining that rather than it being defined for us. So I am so excited. I've been working side by side with Debbie Akers, Evan Shalak from City Council, and the 3 of us are hosting Thursday night. So I really am just hoping that we get a record turnout and record follow through so that we can move into execution. We're getting a lot of things done in these first 7 months, and this is the kickoff of a whole lot more that's going to have a big impact for our town.
Yeah, and you know, Greg, I think, well, I know for a fact that as you talk to people about downtown strategies, that a lot of them haven't been paying attention, for lack of a better term. And so you really have to tell people this is your chance to have a voice, because change is going to happen. It's just a question of, do you want to be part of that change, or do you want change to change you? Because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, Loretta was talking with somebody the other day that said, well, I don't know about this. It's not very transparent, blah, blah, blah. And she challenged this person saying, what do you mean it's not transparent? You know,
I love it.
I mean, how many meetings have you attended? Have you read this stuff in the paper? Have you reached out and talked to your councilman? I mean, you name it, it's there. And, you know, and I was thinking about that is, you know, I knew you were coming on, that, and not to take anything away from prior administration, because I think Dorothy did a phenomenal job and she was very transparent, but the communication around her transparency wasn't as strong as it is right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then I want to give, it's a little off topic, but I think it drives to why this is going to happen. You made the comment at the meeting you did for the golf course the other night, this wouldn't happen without key players that are behind you. Mm-hmm. And those key players on the city side are Mike Frizzell, Jim Caruso, and Pam McCart. And Scott, you probably aren't aware of this, but Pam took a position with the city as a grant writer.
I remember that. You shared that a couple weeks ago.
Okay. And so now you've got this team supporting going forward that have good history with the community, and on Caruso's side knows how to navigate the regulatory environment a little bit better than a lot of people, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah. And I mean, I was thinking about this, the communication that's gone out in the last week to get butts in the chairs, basically, has been phenomenal. So if people say they aren't aware, they're just, they've got blinds on.
Well, you know, I want to sorry to interrupt you, Greg. I just want to throw this out there, is that, and it might be too close to the event, but if you have anybody filming this event that happens Thursday night or something, and you were to share that video file with the radio station, we can peel that audio off of that video and rebroadcast it for you to reach more people too. So always, you know, I'd hate throwing Michelle to the wolves sometimes, or planning things for, but between the two of us and remote access, I could surely carve that up and get it on the air for you too. So keep those kind of things in mind, because that's something that the radio station would love to do too, just to get it out there for you.
Thank you, Scott. And we are going to be, I believe we can record, Downtown Strategies president is going to be remoting in. So that's going to give us ability to record, whether that's Teams or Zoom. So as long as I can get that file to you, thank you. That's another great example of time and place. I mean, as I travel through and I get the luxury honor of touching so many sectors of our great community, all that we need is right here. Excuse me, to accomplish what's in front of us. It's ideas like that where everything gets amplified when more people are involved. And our goal here from an administration standpoint is really to seek to do good work, to seek the welfare of the city, and to do it transparently and communicate the best we can. That is not easy. I would say during the campaign, communication's a bugger. We own it all day long, but it's always going to be a bugger. You always got more people you can touch. You always got people you might overlook accidentally, Mike. I had a key meeting this week I wanted Mike at, and he was the only person I didn't get on my list, but those things happen. Nonetheless, we are creating opportunities where smart, talented people who want to have a voice, want to have an impact, can. And what we do is we facilitate the structure for that to happen, and it's all of us that will do it together. So Thursday night at 6 p.m. at the Civic Center. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right.
Also,
And then
as a secondary on that, just real quick, I do intend on being at that meeting, so I don't know. I only Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So you've got a second event you wanted to mention on the show today too, and that's coming up on Saturday, correct?
Correct. The two most common questions I got, 7 months ago and beyond during the campaign were, can we have a swimming pool? And what about Chautauqua? So I'm going to answer the latter, and now because I said swimming pool, I'll probably have to talk about that too, but we can. Sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat. What seemed to be the energy of the town, or what is the energy of the town, and talking to so many different people, is we're a town that likes to celebrate. We like to get together. We like to celebrate who we are and the different factors of who we are. And so the idea was, let's create 4 festivals aligning with each season, Town for All Seasons, and then let's brand those so that they represent who we are. Let's do Chewelah branded festivals. So with that in mind, we had Soar into Summer this summer in June, and that was a great start, and I think an anchor point that we can look forward to in years to come of building up a midsummer fall festival, or excuse me, summer festival. Coming up October 1st, DNR Olympics asked me if they were looking at Colville or Chewelah to host their annual firefighter Olympics, and I just said, stop, it's got to be in Chewelah. Something that's close to our heart for brand, wild firefighting. Our firefighting crew and fire association are phenomenal. And this is really a fun event where those first responders get together and they put on their version of the Olympic Games. So building from that, what we're looking at on October 1st, because of the innovation and energy of our town, is we're going to close down Main Avenue for the entire day. We're going to start with the leadership of Debbie Akers with a parade. She says not at 8 a.m., but that's at least what the timestamp is right now. But we're going to have a morning parade like we did with Chautauqua. We're going to have different themes running through that parade. Obviously, there'll be a first responder piece to it, but we've already got the color guard lined up. Shriners is on board, and we're recruiting right now to kind of resurrect those participants and leaders from the Chautauqua parade. Once that parade kind of travels through town, the crowd from the parade will move towards the park for Firefighter Olympics, which will kick off at 10 a.m. and run until 4. During that early kickoff, Main Avenue is going to flip. So it's going to flip to a festival environment where you're going to have businesses come out of their buildings and kind of build up shop on the street. You're going to have different vendors, much like Chautauqua. Farmers Market's going to be heavily involved. Justin Schramm is going to help us with some of the design work in terms of formatting and setup. And if you could envision, the end of the day, there's this long dinner table running down the middle of Main Avenue. We're going to kind of have a fall farm to table dinner for Chewelah. There'll be music, which we're going through. Michelle's helping out with that. But during the day, so that all flips 10 to noon. During the day, while Firefighter Olympics is going on, our fire association is going to put on a youth version of Firefighter Olympics. Now that's to capitalize on that Scott, Mike, and myself, and every grown adult wants to be a firefighter when they grow up. So we're going to capitalize on that. It's going to draw more families, and more interest because there's going to be activities for the kids to do. And really excited about what our fire association is going to put together. From there, we travel to downtown, and the evening kind of kicks off with lots of food, vendors, music, and lots of fun. So that's our format right now. We had the meeting this week to find the right leaders to run the different components. Each one of them said yes enthusiastically, started naming off names of people who could help. So we're all in. October 1st, mark your calendar. We're doing a big time fall festival that's going to run from 8 until about 10 o'clock at night.
I bet you this is going to have a big tourism draw too.
Yeah.
If you can get some of those public service announcements, in the Englander or on the public radio station in Spokane too. Definitely submit your press releases to them. There's 2 public radio stations in Spokane. Get yourself some free advertising to it, because I can see this is a huge tourism draw. Firefighter Olympics. I think that would bring people from throughout the region.
Absolutely. And what's really exciting about the Olympics is their target for the fundraising. And my preference, and I think our generous community agrees, is that each of these festivals should have a target or a cause that we're raising money for. Well, coming with us from DNR, they do the Olympics each year to raise money for the families of fallen firefighters.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Right. And this reaction, your reaction is the same anywhere I share that. So we're going all in. Debbie Akers had the idea of why don't we have a boot in every business? So that's going to kick off within the next 2 weeks. You're not going to walk into a business in Chewelah that will not have a firefighter's boot sitting on the calendar where you can donate to help these families who've suffered loss while their heroes have been our first responders. So really, really cool. We are going to raise a ton of money. We got the fire associations doing fire burgers. I jokingly say, but it's absolutely true. They light up their grill and all of a sudden like $1,000 appears. I mean, they are just so good at selling burgers and engaging people. And that's, typically supporting one cause or another tied to the fire association. This time it'll all go to the foundation to help families of fallen firefighters.
Well, and we have fallen firefighters right here in our own county that we're trying to protect people during our wildfires that have lost their lives. So it can have a local impact too. That's awesome.
You bet. So yeah, we're taking, this is ambitious, right? So for the listeners out there who are excited by the idea, please take your excitement and put that into action. There's various people involved. I'll just go through them real quick. Mike Benson and Michelle are helping us with organizing kind of the music piece of it. Brad Schaefer is going to coordinate the farmers market involvement. Justin Schramm of Omni Gaming is going to lead, as I mentioned, the downtown piece. And then Colby Dollard, B. Sims, and JC from our fire association are going to help us with the youth component of Firefighter Olympics. And I already mentioned Debbie Akers is going to be coordinating and using her experience to execute the parade. So if you want to get connected, contact those people, let them know you're willing to throw in. This festival will be as big and as fun as the number of people in our community who are involved in building it.
All right.
Well, and one of the things that jumped out at me when I was in this meeting was, first of all, closing down Main Street is not a small endeavor, and for a variety of different reasons. So to get that done tells you the commitment behind the regulatory, the government, basically the local government, to get it done.
Yeah.
And then because it's closed down, the entire Main Street from Park to 4th is the initial shot anyway, or at least 3rd, is going to be open up for sidewalk vendors. And they won't be on the sidewalk. They'll be out along the edge of the curbs, basically. So that keeps the sidewalks open for people to be able to visit those downtown businesses. And Greg made a comment at the meeting that we really want to make sure the vendors that are there are local. And to use Brad Schaefer's comment, we don't want a vendor that orders kits out of China and puts them together and sells them as local. So, and that's where the creative district is going to come into play, because through our membership, we've got a tremendous amount of local people that they build things locally. And it gives them an avenue to get their name and their work out. And so, and the chamber is the same way. I mean, you look at the membership list on the chamber is predominantly, in fact, it's almost 100%, the small business person that's supporting the community. So the more I thought about it, I mean, I'm talking to the creative district last night in Spokane, and somebody come up and asked me about it, and I'm saying, we got to get the tents ordered. We got to get the, I mean, but then of course, I'm known as the money police on the creative district side. So, okay, how are we going to pay for it?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's say that I make wooden baskets, and I'm really excited about this, and I live in Addy, and I want to be involved in this. Where do I go, Greg?
Well, so right out of the gates, and so what we did as we organized this, and we're in kind of a tight window, right? That's part of the ambitious nature of October 1st. We're under 2 months to execute. So I want to keep expectations, right? We are starting here. This is going to be a very good start. But that being said, for instance, Brad Schaefer right now has vendor connections because of Farmers Market. So he's really kind of leading that. So that would probably be the place to start. I'd give it just a few days, because what I asked is these different leaders raise their hand to help, is they're organizing their teams to execute their sleeve, right? So I think our meeting was two days ago, Mike?
Monday.
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah.
Trying to keep track of what day it is. And the goal coming out of there was that they take ownership of their particular swim lane. So right now, Brad Schaefer's raised his hand, but he's going to need a team of other leaders to come in, and somebody's, he's going to have farmers market, and then there's a farm to table component, and then there's the non-food vendors, and then there's food vendors. There's a lot to that. So, Brad Schaefer's going to help if you're a vendor who makes wooden baskets, as you do, Scott.
Well, I think isn't Justin doing the schematic of where the booths are going to be, so you know how many booth spaces are going to be there?
Yep.
That's part of his responsibility too. And so, and that to me is important, because if you say we have 30 booths available, that puts an urgency on it.
Yeah,
Right.
no, great point. And so we should have that schematic, I believe, by next Monday. And like I was just trying to this was literally this week that we launched. Leaders said yes. And so those things, groundwork stuff is being built right now. But I would bet Justin would have a schematic by next week, and we can start plugging people in. We're also looking for sponsors. We're engaging Nick's Boots out of Post Falls. They're really, I've been in conversations with them about sponsoring various events in our town, just because of the alignment of their business model and generosity. They love being sponsors of this types of stuff. So if there's others out there people know who could sponsor, I can play help in recruiting sponsorship, then just send me an email.
All right. Very cool. You're working hard. You've got your meeting 6 o'clock at the Civic Center on Thursday night.
Yes.
And then I see here in my community calendar stuff, you're also making an appearance somewhere Saturday night.
I am.
You look like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, no, it's really fun. We're having the all church event Saturday at the park, and I get to speak there at 6 o'clock to all the churches that are coming to our beautiful park to really celebrate faith and unity and enjoy, these days of summer. So.
All right, and that fun starts at 1:30 on Saturday in the park, and then the mayor will speak at 6. Have we missed anything you wanted to share today?
Gosh, I don't think so. I think we covered a lot of ground, but I am all in for coming on anytime. I just so appreciate the generosity of the radio station to get the word out, to help with communication, to amplify the good stuff we're doing. We will absolutely do everything we can to have a recording of Thursday night, but I just don't want that to be an excuse for live attendance. Because I think if you're there, you're really going to catch the energy of what's happening and become part of something important.
That's why when we have something like that, I never broadcast them live, because you always want butts in the chairs.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you're doing it right. If you feed them, they'll come.
Right. I learned that from Debbie. She said, you got to have food. And I said, well,
That's right.
Yeah, if you ever want to really have a big, you want to have a big event, hamburgers and hot dogs, I've seen it, bring out the entire town. I mean, you will not have enough hamburgers and hot dogs. All right. If that's everything, we'll cut you loose.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you, Michelle. Right. Appreciate you guys very much.
All right. Big round of applause. Another great interview with our mayor, Greg McCunn. Thank you, Greg. All right. And for my cohorts this morning, we've got time for a little fun. So, Michelle, I'm going to make you reach for that birthday calendar, and both of you put your thinking caps on.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
It's Michelle versus Mike.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
All right. Now, this would be a fun way to change gears this morning. Maybe not for the two of you.
So can I request a time delay based upon the age difference?
No, you're a pretty capable 70-year-old. I'm just saying. All right. Plus, you've got all that old duffer wisdom.
Okay.
All right. Fun and games. First question. 4 of the first 6 presidents of the United States had this in common.
They owned plantations or farms.
No.
Really?
No.
They had no teeth.
No.
Their middle name was the same.
No. What can I give you for a hint?
They were all in military service.
No, sir.
Probably true, but they were unmarried.
No. We complain a lot now about the past few presidents we've had, excluding Barack.
Oh, they had affairs.
They could finish their sentences. They could finish their sentences.
They could finish their sentences? No, they were all the same age, 57.
Oh, really? No, I would have never gotten that one.
I know that's a tough one.
Because back then, they should have been gone by then.
Yeah.
Right.
Life expectancy was like 40, so they were really old.
Right.
All right. How about I give you 3 lies, and you tell me, or 3 statements. You tell me which one is the lie. All right. First, the sport of korfball requires that the goalie be a female. The second one, for the film Gone with the Wind, 1,400 actresses were interviewed for the part of Scarlett O'Hara. And the flag of Nepal is the only national flag in the world that is not a rectangle. Which one of those statements is the lie?
Ooh, I'm going to say the flag of Nepal.
The flag of Nepal. Michelle?
I'm going to say the first one because I've never heard of that sport.
And you would be right. Actually, the sport is real, though.
Really?
Yes. In korfball, each team consists of 8 players, 4 female and 4 male. Korfball has been around since 1902.
So what is it?
I have no idea. Soon to overtake pickleball, I'm sure.
So, Juila, korfball, mecca of the world.
I would have thought one of you would have thought the lie was Gone with the Wind because interviewing, 1,400 actresses auditioning for Scarlett O'Hara, that seems weird, like way too many. All right. We'll keep going this morning. Oh, I'm going to have to go back and read that one. Why drinking and screaming are good for you. Okay. About 16% of us who do this come to regret it later. What did we do to ourselves?
Eat something spicy.
I do that all the time. It's not so good. It tastes so good. It feels so bad.
I'm going to say get a tattoo.
Get a tattoo is correct. Good job, Mike. Ding, 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 ding. All right. According to a study on food and nutrition, 80% of us underestimate what?
The number of calories.
Yes, Mike. Are you cheating?
Well, I could relate to that one.
Okay. This travels 60,000 miles a day.
The space station.
No. It's something about you.
Oh, your blood.
Yes. Oh, he doesn't even give you a chance, does he, Michelle? All right. I'm going to give you each a set of 3 things that they share something in common, and you have to tell me what they share in common, and you win. The first one's so unfair. Ryder's Cup, British Open, Masters.
Golf.
Oh, that was a tie. All right. A highway, an astrologer, and a third base coach.
Highway, astrologer, and a third base coach. Oh, they're all looking for home.
No.
Astrologer. They all use, I don't know. I was going to say they use maps.
No, but you're getting warmer.
Not
Not a map, but it helps you get places.
A compass?
No.
Uh,
They're on a highway. They're important to an astrologer, and they're important to a third base coach.
Signs.
Signs is correct. All right. Busch Stadium, Fenway Park, Wrigley Field.
You play sports in all of them?
Well, they're all baseball stadiums.
Right.
They are. That's correct. Dress shirt, a TV remote, and elevators.
They all have buttons.
Wow, you're just... And he was complaining, Michelle, about being old.
I know. You wanted a handicap. That's
No, but these are all old people questions.
Yeah, I would... You know, if you guys were in the same studio, Michelle, I'd let you give him a handicap. Here's your handicap, Vince.
Kick you in your good knee.
Woo, look out, Mike. All right, there are 125 million of these around the world.
125 million?
Million? Lakes.
It's a type of person.
Oh, 125 million?
Yes. There's 100, and they all share something. This 125 million all share something in common. There are 125 million of these around the world.
They're left-handed.
No.
They're farmers.
No.
Green eyes.
No. That's a good guess, though, Michelle.
They're people?
They're people.
Is it like an occupation?
So that's a low number, really, if you take the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
And only 125 million of these people, and they all share the same thing in common.
They're bald.
No, more unique than that.
Their last name's Schlafman.
You know, there's probably actually only about, 100 people in the country with the name Schlafman. So it's all right. 125 million people around the world. Has to do with their family, and they all share this in common. They're all either a twin or more. 120 million people.
Okay. Really?
Twins, triplets, etc.
Huh.
Right. Maybe this is easier. Maybe not. Health researchers say half of adults who do this after starting a new job. Health researchers say half of adults do this after starting a new job.
They start smoking.
No.
Drinking.
No.
Lose weight.
Does happen with your mouth, though. What'd you say, Michelle?
Lose weight.
Say it again?
I said lose weight.
Oh, no. We're looking for the opposite. Gain weight.
Really?
Gain weight.
Half of adults get fat after getting a new job.
They're
fat
not
and
working.
lazy.
They're not working very hard then.
I'm thinking. I'm going to give you these brain teasers are impossible. See if either one of you can get them. Start with the letters E-R-G-R-O. E-R-G-R-O. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now place 3 letters in front of them and the same 3 letters after them in the same order. You've now formed a common word. Hint, you may have to dig for the answer.
E-R-G-O.
E-R-G-R-O. Place 3 letters in front of them and the same 3 letters after them in the same order. Okay. Now you've formed a common word. You may have to dig for the
man. E-R-T-R-O?
Yep. Now you need 3 letters in front of it and the same 3 letters at the end of it to create the word. And the hint is you have to dig for the answer.
Man.
Let's see if anybody on Facebook has guessed correctly, because yesterday I didn't check, and then there was.
Oh.
I think Dawn's a little dizzy this morning. Dawn posted, I'm always looking forward to Thursday. Dawn, it's Wednesday.
If it's the Dawn I'm thinking about, I'm going to see him at 10:30. He better be there.
Yeah, it is Dawn Olson. Way to go, Dono.
TRTRO. Man,
yes.
Michelle, I'm drawing the blank.
The 3 letters you needed were UND in the front, UND in the back. It completes the word, which is underground. Yep.
Oh, okay.
That was a good one.
And wow, tough. I should have let you guys take the time to get paper and pencil.
Did
Right?
that.
All right, Michelle, did you happen to dig out that calendar of local birthdays?
Yes.
See who we have for our Wednesday.
Yes, I have it. Okay. It's the 10th, right?
Yes.
Except if you're Dawn, it's the 11th.
Yes.
Well, so there's birthdays on the 11th, but there are no birthdays on the 10th.
Oh, how sad. Oh, all right. For everybody that didn't have a birthday today, yay. And if you did have a birthday, you need to get it on the Lions Club calendar so we can talk about it. And it is a great way to support all the efforts of the Lions Club. And you can find more information on our website. Go to kchw.org, click on supporters. You'll find the Lions Club on there, a link to the main Lions Club website, and a PDF you can download to get yourself on the Lions Club calendar. And then just get in touch with Dr. Jazz on Tuesday nights if you don't know anybody else that's a Lion. All right?
In the words of the Mad Hatter, very, very happy unbirthday to you.
And celebrity birthdays with the guy who usually only knows a couple of them. It's Mike Bentz.
Well, I know more than a couple today.
Excellent.
Oh, should we start out with
Because
Rosanna Arquette? She's 63. Weird actress, but pretty good.
Yeah, kind of odd.
Yeah. Okay. And then we have Antonio Banderas.
Oh.
Zorro. He's 62.
Okay.
I think he played the best Zorro, by the way.
I always have wanted, ever since I saw his spaghetti westerns, I've always wanted a guitar case that doubled as a machine gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
Yep.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the name of that movie. Same thing. I like that movie. Pull out my guitar case.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we have author Suzanne Collins of The Hunger Games is 60. Have you ever read that series of books?
Mm-hmm.
I have not.
I have.
I think I thought they were really good. What do you think, Michelle?
I started reading the first one and couldn't put them down. 10 days later, I had them all read.
Yep. Yeah, really, really good series. So, okay, let's see. So, Scott, I do read even at my age.
Okay.
And Justin Thoreau is 51. I know who that is, but I have no idea what he did other than marry Jennifer Aniston and got divorced. And he's a billionaire.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. And then we have Angie Harmon. Law and Order is 50. Boy, I think she'd been around a long time. I think she'd be older than that, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. And then your favorite person, Scott, June Shannon.
Oh, jeez.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo, is 43.
One of the worst things that have ever happened to television was that show.
Yeah, I agree.
It's one of the great
somebody I have known, Ryan Eggold, is 38 from The Blacklist and Redemption in 90201 or 210. Then Charles Kuntz of CSI and Cyber is 35. So now you're getting down to people I don't recognize.
All right.
Lucas Till, MacGyver is 32. Kylie Jenner is 25. Who cares? And Jeremy Maguire, his Modern Family is 11.
All right. Wow, we made it through that. Round of applause for Mike. There we go. And let's wrap up today's show. We got 11 minutes. I think we can do some odd news.
Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go. We're burning daylight.
It's the world of strange. A world gone wacky.
Out here, due process is a bullet.
And some of the scariest people on the planet.
I think you're bluffing. Be afraid. You know, you look mighty pretty when you get mad.
It's your odd news on KCHW.
Just sit back and enjoy the show.
Enjoy the show. Whoa. All right, here we go. 10 minutes before 9. It's your news attack. First part true. Second sentence, big fat lie. Poor joke. Michelle, you're up.
All right. So, Burger King has sent blank order email receipts to thousands of customers who didn't order anything. I'm not sure if that's a whopper of a technological glitch or just a junior whopper.
I think it's just a junior whopper of a technical glitch.
With fries. I want fries.
Okay. Hey, Scott.
Yes.
Serena Williams just announced she'll soon retire.
I know, it's so sad.
Oh, I know it. Unless she gets an offer she can't refuse from the New England Patriots.
Oh. You know, she is tough. And if you've seen her, man, she is muscly. I think she could play football. And I don't mean that as an insult either. I personally would like to leg wrestle her. Just saying.
Well, you know, she would probably flip you in the air so high that you'd stick to the ceiling.
I'm hoping. Study found that alcohol actually helped test subjects become more creative on tests. Probably just urine tests, though, which is exactly is why I loved my college. It had an open bar. Oh, all right, Michelle, you get the touchy one.
Yes. Into the rabbit hole we go. Okay. Fans of Donald Trump are saying that if the former president can be investigated, then you're next. Yeah. I'm pretty sure the FBI is raiding my house right now looking for my insurance paperwork and my homeowners association paperwork.
I think I did that joke this morning earlier, didn't I?
They're coming for me.
Yeah. You know, I don't think you're next unless you've been a Las Vegas scumbag the most of your life. Oh, sorry. Let's see. It's back to Mike.
Okay, Domino's Pizza has closed the last 13 stores in Italy. They clearly have no taste. No, not the Italians, the Domino pizzas. I read that actually on one of my news feeds that the Italians refused to eat their pizza.
They did. They did. They tried for 7 years and it never worked. They're packing up and leaving Italy.
Which makes you think, why is it called pizza?
Invented in America. Just saying.
Okay.
67-year-old career bank robber nicknamed Old Man Bandit, Bence.
Thanks. Just start calling me OMBB.
Was arrested after trying to rob another bank. See, Mike, that's what happens when you read AARP magazine's 10 retirement hobbies that'll make you money. Ouch.
Well, you know, I used to tell people when you're doing tax planning, you could do tax deferral, tax-free, tax deductible, and tax evasion. I didn't recommend the last one.
I'll try tax evasion, please, for 10 years, Mike. All right. Let's see. Who's Michelle?
My turn. Survey says humans have a sixth sense that detects magnetic fields. I knew it. 7, if you count my ability to locate a liquor store by sticking my nose in the air. Smells like heartburn.
Way to throw yourself under the bus, Michelle.
I know.
You know, there is an 8th sense.
Yes?
The ability to find a Starbucks.
Oh.
Ooh.
I got excited. I thought it was the ability to avoid a hangover.
All right, Mike, will you try that same joke again and see if you can make it funnier?
No, I have wisdom, remember? I'm an old duffer. Okay, the study suggests humans have a 6th sense of text magnetic fields. Well, that's kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been here before.
Everybody except Scott.
So I want to know. I've never met anybody that has told me they can sense a magnetic field.
Me either, actually. But
I can't tell.
there are humans with a sixth sense with a seventh sense that tells us when their boss leaves the building.
Okay. Yeah, you could tell that. I had a boss one time that smelled so bad, you could tell when he entered. Wow, did you see that poster just like fall off the wall?
That's that magnetic field.
I guess so. I had, and maybe I shouldn't. That was like a warning not to tell the story. But I had a boss one time that smelled so bad you could tell when he entered the building, even if you couldn't see him.
Have you ever?
So the twins poster's the one that fell?
It did. We're on the ground, Mike. We're on the ground.
We're on the ground. Oh, what else is new?
All right.
You have to start from somewhere.
Let's move on to wacky but true. We don't add anything to these stories because the craziness is already in there. Maybe a sound effect. First one happened in the fall of 2020 when Dennis Vladimirovich Molla reported to Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, that vandals attacked his house, spray-painted graffiti including Biden 2020, BLM, and an Antifa symbol on his house. Worse, they then lit his pickup truck and camper on fire, which destroyed his garage and damaged his house. Their alleged motive? He was flying Trump legs. Molla put in a $300,000 claim into his insurance company, which paid him $61,000 for the damage. Plus, he collected $17,000 from GoFundMe campaigns. Turns out this year, federal investigators determined Molla did the vandalism and the arson himself. Oh, and I do happen to have a sound effect for him.
I always wondered what happened to you. Well, I fulfilled a lot of people's predictions about me. I've become a real scumbag. Yeah, good for you. You know, a lot of people go their whole lives without ever realizing what they want to be.
All right, Michelle.
Oh, boy. All right. German police were called in for a delicate late-night rescue operation to free two young lovers handcuffed together in bed. A 30-year-old man and his 25-year-old girlfriend were naked and had put handcuffs on when the key broke and the lock jammed. The embarrassed couple called the police, who cut the handcuffs off with a bolt cutter and then left quickly.
Remember when that happened to you, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
No, you don't. Here's what the police had to say.
There's nothing to see. Gather over there.
Nothing to see.
Okay, I'm going to skip the next one because you already did it earlier.
Oh, I did kind of talk about it, right?
Yeah. So why don't I just go to the following one?
Okay.
Okay. All right. We're back in Florida. Okay. Where everything weird happens.
True.
Okay. The Florida couple had been arrested after they were upset over a snorkeler's proximity to their waterfront property. According to authorities in Monroe County, that's an important fact. 65-year-old Paulo de Olivier and 61-year-old Katia de Olivier got into an argument with a 36-year-old man they noticed was snorkeling during their dock on a Sunday afternoon. Ooh, at some point during the verbal, yeah, big deal. At some point during the verbal altercation, the victim's right to snorkel, both suspects struck the victim in the head and other parts of his body. Police said that Paulo attacked the victim with some kind of pole. Katia attacked the victim with a fishing rod. Okay. When the police arrived at the scene, they located the victim bleeding profusely from the head, and he was later transported to a hospital before the alligator got him.
You combined our two Florida stories. That's awesome.
That awesome?
Actually, no, there was no alligator. But a word from the homeowner.
They should die like pigs in hell.
Yeah. Apparently he hates snorkelers.
So offensive. That snorkeling tube is so offensive.
All right, a quick one.
Dare you come around my dock? No, sorry.
Say that again.
I thought it was my turn. I'm sorry.
Huh? In UK, a woman left her parked car on a road overnight. When she returned, it had been covered in marshmallows and spicy mustard.
Yes!
I call it bored elves.
We elves try to stick to the 4 main food groups: candy, candy canes, candy corns, and syrup.
Syrup. And back to Michelle, save me.
All right. A suspected Norwegian burglar failed the most basic requirement needed to succeed and is now in jail. The alleged burglar was discovered at the wheel of someone else's car following a hard night spent robbing houses. When police found him at the wheel, he was asleep.
Aww. Remember these important words.
I just took my drowsy pills.
Ha! Evil never sleeps, mister.
That's right. Never sleeps. Mike.
Okay, we're in the United Kingdom, and a guy thought he had pulled off the perfect crime. He had successfully grabbed cash from the bank and was about to make his getaway. In the final fit of bravado, he turned back to the teller, pointed his finger at her, and said, "You had better not lock me in." She didn't. He was able to run out of the building. Unfortunately, when he pointed his finger at her, he left one perfect fingerprint on the security glass. Oh, the cops were able to identify him by his print.
That's so stupid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've got a side story. Years ago, I had somebody break into one of my offices, and we get there in the morning, the door's all kicked in, and the place is all roughed up, and so I called the police, and the police came in to investigate, and the guy says, "Come in here," and I walk in, he looks down on the ground, and there's a name tag. He goes, "Did anybody here work with that name?" Needless, and not only a name tag, but where he worked.
Oh, perfect. He dropped his name tag?
Dropped his name tag.
Who takes a name
easy
tag
apprehension.
when they're gonna...
Nice. So was that one of your financial offices that he broke into?
Yeah.
And you probably didn't keep money there. What was he hoping to steal?
Well, I think most people, or a lot of people, when they see financial, they assume there's money there. And there's not.
Just a lot of invoices.
In fact, I'll tell you a little secret. In the investment business, it's illegal to have money on the location. Cash.
Oh, wow. I'm going to change all my plans now.
That's right. Yeah, Scott, you got to take your 42 cents out.
And never point at the bank teller and touch the glass with your finger, because she'll yell this back at you.
All right, look, lady.
Don't you point those dirty green sausages at me!
That's all I had for I couldn't believe I didn't have more finger sound effects. Here we go. Last one. Police spotted a suspected stolen vehicle in downtown LA, and they gave chase. California Highway Patrol picked up the pursuit. Is that Chips? Yeah. Very quickly, a police helicopter joined in. Wow. About an hour and a half after the chase started, and a half hour after police had stopped the ground pursuit, the car stopped in a grocery store parking lot. That's when the driver got out of the car, put his hands above his head, and laid down on the ground. He wasn't arrested, though, because the law enforcement officers had totally lost him. But he gave up right there.
He gave up. Then the Walmart security guard came out and got him.
Apparently, that's the end of the story. I don't think they ever found him.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
That's right. All right, thanks for being with us today. Let's see, tomorrow is Thursday. That means it's three Amigos Thursday.
And Don Olson.
That means we've got Mr. Alan Milani and Mr. Chuck Ritchie joining me for what we call Three Amigos Thursday, which is basically three guys, lots of testosterone and lots of stupidity. Hope you'll join us at 7:20. All right. Other than that, any closing words, Mike?
Oh, well, be at the meeting tomorrow night. It's awful hard to have a say if you don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and he's talking about the downtown strategies meeting at 6 o'clock. And Michelle, it's Wednesday. What's on the radio tonight?
Micah Hanks is on the radio tonight.
All right. Some paranormal talk radio at 10. Yeah. Who do we have at 8? I'm testing her. It's Doug McQueen. There we go.
Duh.
Bluegrass at 6, Doug McQueen at 8 o'clock, and Micah Hanks and some Paranormal Talk Radio at 10. All coming your way right here on Northern Lights Public Radio. And I don't know why, but for both of you, big round of applause.
Well, because we put up with you for an hour and a half.
Oh, that's probably exactly true. Here we go. Have a great day.
You bet. Bye.
And my thing didn't play. Try it again. Have a great day.
This
bye.
Broadcast from World Control.
Bye.
Bye.